Hello, this is Paul Nelson with Western Sport Floors, Wyoming Wood Floors. Today I'm coming to you from Butte Central Catholic School. I'm with my friend, Mr. J.P. Williams.
Good afternoon, Paul. Great to see you again.
Thank you, J.P. We were having a discussion about education and sports. We call them student athletes. And J.P., you're the principal here at Butte Central?
That's correct. I am the principal and administrator at the high school.
You're very involved in sports, and could you talk just a little bit about what it means to be a student athlete here at Butte Central?
Our student athletes are incredible. This year, Paul, we placed 38 student athletes on the All-State Academic List. That means these students had a 3.5 GPA or better. They were handling business in the classroom. We are striving for excellence. Academics is a top priority. Well, we always tell our students there's two words: student athlete. Which word comes first?
Student.
Student. They never get that wrong, and so our students know the priority here is academics. We have an expectancy that students are not just going to meet the minimum standard. So students are required to pass at least 4 classes. This is statewide. This is statewide.
To play in any school in the state.
Play in any school.
Pass 4 classes.
4 classes.
Okay.
Here at Butte Central, we require you pass 7 classes with a minimum of 70%. Our students are excelling beyond that. Our students actually want to do the best they can. They understand how important it is to have a 3.5 or a 4.0 when a college coach or a scout comes and asks. So you'll see me at any time walking through the hallway. What's your GPA? 4.0. Fantastic. High five. You know.
Oh, that's awesome.
If we use that 70% as a measure, I can see if a student's in trouble and we can get them support, extended learning opportunities, tutoring, after school, additional assignments. So we use that also as an opportunity to see if a student needs more support.
JP, did I even hear this right, that you're sending 95% of the students that graduate from Butte Central are headed to college or university?
That's correct. It's a really exciting season right now at Butte Central.
It's an amazing story, JP. You have 37 students. Did you tell me you had 2 NCAA?
3 NCAA Division I commits this past
basketball?
week.
No.
2 football,
Okay.
1 for track.
Okay.
So 3 are going to U of M, 1's going to MSU, another student to Carroll, another student to Tech. Those are all just the football players. We haven't swung through the volleyball and basketball yet, or softball.
And this is with only a student body of 37 kids.
The senior class is 37. We have 125 overall this year, which is up just about 12% from last year.
Got it.
With the Irish Catholics, the Italian Catholics, the growth of the Catholic Church happens. Mm-hmm. And now you need someplace to educate those kids. Mm-hmm. So that's how the school was founded. Now imagine, if you will, the train system was coming from Anaconda, coming from the Boulder area. Mm-hmm. Minors would get on a train with their kids, drop them off at the school, pick them up after their shift.
Okay.
You know, go back on the train back home. The history of Butte Central, you know, it extends beyond these walls and this library. It goes out to the city that you see. Of course, St. Patrick's Church right over there, one of the most historic churches in the state of Montana. And there's just so much history here between the Sisters of Charity, who came in the late 1880s. Then you had the Irish Christian Brothers from Ireland, who came in the early 1920s. What was important for me as a new principal coming into this system was to take a look back at that history, understand it, embrace it as part of the tradition, the culture, the faith, the family. That's important. And then take it from where Butte Central has been, which is really great places, and move it forward to the future. Now, if you'd have went to the class of 1960, you don't have a couple hundred people graduating in a class. You
Per
have
class.
600, 700 people going to school here. The mine was booming. The town was growing.
Got it.
The whole economy was this just thriving system. Butte is America. It really is. From boom to bust and to where we are now. You know, you had a town that was nothing on the map. You have the westward expansion, right? The
Right.
Great Indian Wars. Now you have mining, industrialization. You have the unions growing. You have immigrants coming over to Ellis Island. Melting pot.
All over the
Great
world.
American melting pot. There's such a Chinese influence. If you go downtown, there's a Meiwa Museum right downtown. The railroad system, which so many Chinese immigrants helped build. You have such an Italian influence here. Uptown, you have an Irish influence. There's even a Muslim history that was here. There's an African American history that's here in Butte. There's Yugoslavian, there's Russian, there's Ukrainian. Every part of the world was coming here for opportunity. And I believe Butte is going to regenerate and continue to provide those type of opportunities. I think the mining aspect is going to be technology and transportation and communications. You know, where it used to be gold, copper, silver, there's a new mine that's happening. It's in those areas, technology, transportation.
Yeah, tell us what it was like growing up. I assume when you were a young man, the smelter was still running in Anaconda.
Well, that smelter shut down in 1981.
Okay.
Folks are from Anaconda, dad's from Missoula, mom's from Anaconda. Many trips over to Butte. It was the big city at the time, you know. Hey, they got a mall, let's go over there. My family moved several times. My father being with the government system and the Forest Service, and had opportunities in several different areas, but my mother being a nurse, both of them were educated, and that was seeing those degrees on the wall from my parents. To me, that was etched in what I had to do and who I was going to become as an adult, that I realized very early education would be a key to everything I do. Anaconda was the smelter where all the ore that was coming from this area was refined.
So they're kind of they're married. These two cities are kind of married economically.
Economically, ecologically, both of these cities are now working with federal government agencies to get rid of those toxins, the Superfund sites. What I remember is Evel Knievel. He was my hero.
Okay, so talk about that.
Man, that guy.
He's from Butte.
Right, that guy, you know, he did things on this motorcycle that every kid wanted to do on their bike, and he was just a hero. You know, a lot of people say, well, he was this, he was that. But for anybody my age, you know, coming up in the 60s, 70s, early 80s, everybody wanted to have that Evel Knievel bike and be able to do those type of things he was doing.
Did Butte Central as a school actually predate public education in Butte? Was it one of the first, or do you know?
Butte Central is known as the oldest Catholic school in the state of Montana.
Okay.
Now, we know public education started late 1889 back east and then moved westward, and by the early 1900s, Montana had public education as well.
So this may have been the first really formal school in Butte.
I believe
for sure.
I believe it probably was one of the first formal schools, not only in Butte, but across the state of Montana.
Okay.
And you could research that. I know that the archives is just a block away up the hill, and you could find that information out, you know, and it's been really great because I've actually had visitors come and say, you know, my grandfather or my great-grandfather graduated class of 33. You got a yearbook? And yeah, I pull out the yearbook, you know, and they go, there he is, you know, and they go, I want to know more about him. Well, I don't have a lot of those records, but if you go to the archives, where is it? And I'll call over and say, hey, I'm sending someone over. Yeah, walk over, come visit.
It's amazing.
There's a lot of history here.
Amazing.
There's every walk of life here. What is amazing about Butte, it never ceases to amaze me when there is a family in need, or a child in need, or a business in need, or some facet of the community that has a great need. This community comes together like none I've ever seen, and they support each other. They support our neighbors, our friends, our family. We support each other. This is the magic of Butte.